does bread make you tired or bloated or achy? Maybe you've been told wheat is bad for you or gluten is the enemy. But what if I told you it's not the wheat God created that's the problem? It's what man did to it. Wheat and bread have gone from a blessing to a curse. And today we're going to reverse it. Today we're going to uncover why whole grains are a perfect food when eaten the way God designed them, and how milling your own wheat berries changes everything from your thyroid health to your digestion. Well, thank you for joining me. I'm Annette Reeder from thebiblicalnutritionist.com, and I'm here to serve you God's recipe for excellent health. And that always includes the fact that God loves you and desires a real relationship with you. Now, these are real questions I'm going to talk about today that come from our community, and I'm going to answer them with biblical wisdom and nutritional science. So let's get started. In Genesis 1:29, it tells us, "Behold, I have given you every plant yielding seed, and it will be food for you." Now, this includes wheat, barley, and other grains. In Kings and Chronicles, we find David and his men fighting in the barley fields. In the New Testament, we find bread being multiplied to feed thousands. And on the Sea of Galilee, one of my favorite stories and to visit in Israel, you see Jesus preparing breakfast for his disciples with bread and fish. So what happened between God's provision and your pantry shelf? Grains went from being life-giving foods to being shelf-stable, dead products stripped of nutrition and filled with chemicals. No wonder bread hurts us today. Yet let's look at the science. Whole grains can actually reduce disease. Modern science actually agrees with God's design. According to Harvard Science, whole grains actually reduce disease. And modern science is proving basically God's design. So Harvard's nutritional source, it says all whole grain kernels contain 3 parts. We have the bran, the germ, and the endosperm. Each section, it houses health-promoting nutrients. The bran is the fiber-rich outer layer that supplies B vitamins and iron and copper and zinc, magnesium, antioxidants, and phytochemicals. Phytochemicals are natural chemical compounds in plants that have been researched for their role in disease prevention. I teach all about this in the Treasures of Health Nutrition manual. Now, the germ, another part of the kernel, is the core. It's where the seed, the growth occurs, and it's rich in healthy fats. Imagine that, vitamin E, B vitamins, phytochemicals again, and antioxidants. Now, the last layer is the endosperm, and it's the interior layer that holds the carbohydrates, the proteins, and small amounts of B vitamins and minerals. Now, these components, they have various effects on our bodies. So if we look at just the bran and the fiber, what this does, and it's so vital to our health, it slows down the breakdown of starch into glucose. Now, this is important not just for maintaining a steady blood sugar, but it also helps to allow for nutrients to be absorbed. This way, we don't have those sharp spikes like you do in glucose fake foods in the grocery store. Then we have fiber. Fiber lowers cholesterol as well as removes the waste out of the digestive tract. My husband dropped his cholesterol from 300 to 160 just by increasing his fiber, and we added in milling in bread. But fiber does more. It helps to prevent the formation of blood clots that trigger heart attacks or strokes. So phytochemicals and minerals such as magnesium and selenium and copper, they're found in whole grains, and they protect against some cancers. So the studies show this, and I found it very incredible. Eating whole grains reduces your risk of heart disease by 30%. Eating whole grains reduces type 2 diabetes by 30%. And the study showed if you swap out white rice for whole grains, you can drop your type 2 diabetes risk and drug dependency by 36%. It helps to regulate weight and keep digestion healthy. Postmenopausal women who are very susceptible to type 2 diabetes lessen their risk by 43% when they consumed whole grains. The fiber builds that gut microbiome, it lowers inflammation, and get this, eating whole grains lowers your risk of cancer by 21%.
Struggling with cravings, fatigue, or confusion about your health? You're not alone. But you don't have to stay stuck. Get the free Bible Health ebook and discover 7 powerful steps to real, lasting transformation God's way. Break emotional eating. Learn what truly satisfies. Align your health with God's truth. This is your breakthrough. Get your free Bible Health ebook now on the website, thebiblicalnutritionist.com. It's time to take the first step toward vibrant health, both physically and spiritually.
But this is not from any bread product in the store or any bread at the restaurant. This is by milling your own grain. Milling your own grain and making your own bread products yourself. So what really is wrong with store-bought bread? Well, here's what happened. Industrial mills, they stripped away the bran and the germ, where most of the vitamins and minerals and oils and fiber live. And then they bleached the flour, taking out even more nutrients. And then they have to add in preservatives and this anti-caking agents to make it so it can sit on the shelf not just for weeks, but for months. The result? You have a dead product that your body doesn't even recognize as food. And that is why you feel so bad. So why does milling your own wheat change everything? Well, when you mill your own wheat berries, you get the bran full of fiber and antioxidants. You get the germ rich in vitamin E. We need that vitamin E. We get healthy oils. Oh, your body loves those. And enzymes. Enzymes, which we haven't talked about yet, they are so important because we have so many reactions in our body that are coenzyme deficient if we don't have the enzymes. So without this activity and cellular response, our body would basically accelerate the aging process. And I don't want that. And I know you don't either. The endosperm, energy-giving carbohydrates. And you use these carbohydrates within 72 hours when the nutrients are alive and fresh. Plus, when you buy organic wheat berries, you're avoiding pesticides like glyphosate that's sprayed on conventional wheat. Now, all of this is coming because people have asked me questions, and I want to answer those questions. And the first one's from Gary. Gary says, my son reacts to gluten and thyroid symptoms. Does fresh milling change that? Well, Gary, I love that you're milling fresh wheat. Gluten is a natural part of wheat. If your son has a gluten sensitivity or an autoimmune thyroid condition like Hashimoto's, even freshly milled wheat will still contain a small amount of gluten. Yet the amount of gluten is very minute, and the use of whole grains actually delivers a healthy dose of thiamine, which is necessary for healing Hashimoto's. In fact, it has been shown that energy levels increase in just 2 days for people with Hashimoto's after eating whole grains. This is because of the natural inclusion of the B vitamins in the whole grains that God designed. Vitamins are removed from white flour, and yet when it comes to gluten and the source of gluten, what changes is how our body handles it. Most people react to the processed version of gluten plus the chemicals, not really the original wheat that God made. But for someone with an autoimmune response, well then I recommend starting naturally with gluten-free grains. So you could start with millet and sorghum and buckwheat. And you need to mill these yourself at home too. And then with the healing, you can start moving into other grains. A question submitted by Earth Wisdom. Why do I get so bloated when I eat bread? Well, that bloating comes from two different things. One, store-bought bread with dead flour, rancid oils, and chemicals can directly relate to bloating. Your body is having a hard time digesting it. And number two, a gut that's not used to fiber or fermented grains can also start with bloating. So start with freshly milled wheat. Try sourdough, which actually has more pre-digested gluten, and then give your gut time to adjust. For some, we help this situation by adding in digestive enzymes with every meal to give your body the necessary enzymes to metabolize the certain carbs in the grain of wheat. And yes, buy organic berries to avoid the pesticides. God did not design grains with chemicals attached. We didn't need it with his foods. Now, Mina asked, what about oats? Can you use oat flour for bread? Oats are delicious. And when we used to bring Joyce Rogers to our conferences, she used to say her secret to her bread was 1 cup of freshly milled oat flour into her bread mix. Well, but oats don't make bread rise like wheat. You can make oat bread, but it's going to be dense and hearty. So if you add in some wheat and some spelt, some einkorn, some other grains, those are actually better for leavened breads. My favorite breads of all time is when I take 100% freshly milled spelt plus kamut and then add in 1 cup of oat flour. That is the bomb of bread. It is so delicious. So the big takeaway is don't blame wheat, blame the processing. God's wheat is still good. It's man's processing that made it bad for us. Always remember the 3 principles that I teach. Eat the foods God called good for us. Eat the foods as close to his design. Don't let any food become an addiction or your God. And most importantly, it's either God's foods or lab experiment foods. You get to choose. But when we return to whole foods the way God designed, the grains, the fruits, the vegetables, the clean meats, you give your body the fuel it was made to run on. And you feel amazing, you're thinking well, and your skin resonates with just such beauty. You feel amazing. So, what about milling your own bread? Let me tell you how you can get started. And it's actually easier than you thought. Number one, buy organic wheat berries. Get a simple grain mill. I'll put a link to mine down below. This is the knock mill that I use now. And start with just basic whole wheat bread or pancakes or muffins. And yet eat it within a few days. Or you can freeze it to save the nutrients. And don't forget, it's not just about food. It's about worshiping God with how He cares for our bodies. Now, just for you, we have also put together a page on my website, and you would go there, thebiblicalnutritionist.com/bread. I have given you all of the videos, all of the teachings on how you too can get started making your own bread. And on that website, when people buy a mill through us or a mixer, then we give you the free download of my favorite book, Satisfied Baking with Whole Grains. So make sure you check that out and check out all of the benefits and the value that we have there on that page for you. So much free content. It is my goal to serve you God's recipe for excellent health. So go to the website, thebiblicalnutritionist.com/bread. That page is full of resources for you, lots of free learning there. And then those who buy the mill and buy the mixers, either or, and we give a free bread course with your purchase and also the free downloads of our recipe book. I really want to serve you God's recipe for excellent health. And that starts with understanding who delivered the bread to us, who designed the bread for us, and why does it represent Him being the bread of life. When you start matching that up, you'll say, "Oh, this is exactly what I've been looking for." Well, thanks for joining me here at thebiblicalnutritionist.com. It is always my joy and my honor to serve you God's recipe for excellent health. That includes helping you be confident in the kitchen, confident with your health, but most importantly, confident in understanding how much God loves you and desires a personal relationship with you. Check out the website, thebiblicalnutritionist.com. Thanks for watching.
Struggling with cravings, fatigue, or confusion about your health? You're not alone. But you don't have to stay stuck. Get the free Bible Health ebook and discover 7 powerful steps to real, lasting transformation God's way. Break emotional eating. Learn what truly satisfies. Align your health with God's truth. This is your breakthrough. Get your free Bible Health ebook now on the website, thebiblicalnutritionist.com. It's time to take the first step toward vibrant health, both physically and spiritually.